Harold Sterling's hand crashed against the mahogany table. That woman was nothing but a gold digger, a nobody singer trying to trap my son into ruining his future. His voice cut like broken glass. After your accident, we did what any family would do. We protected you. We made sure she understood there was no place for her in your life. Marcus felt the floor shift beneath him. What exactly did you do to her? I made her disappear. I erased every trace of her from your world. Harold's eyes held no remorse. And given the chance, I would do it all again without hesitation. The confession hung in the air like smoke from a fire that had been burning for 6 years. Marcus realized in that moment that everything he believed about his family, about his own life, had been constructed on lies. And somewhere out there, a woman he once loved had spent 6 years running, hiding, surviving all to protect a daughter he never knew existed. If you want to discover how one little girl's words exposed decades of betrayal, subscribe to my channel and stay until the very end. Drop a comment telling me which city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels across the world. Marcus Sterling pressed the phone harder against his ear. Say that again, James, slowly. Someone breached the east perimeter, sir. Motion sensors triggered near the pool house approximately 23 minutes ago. Marcus pushed back from his desk. You're telling me someone got past a $2 million security system? Yes, sir. And there's something else. James Mitchell's voice carried a weight Marcus had never heard before. It's a child. A little girl. She's been hiding in there for hours just waiting. Marcus was already moving. I'm coming down myself. Sir, I'd advise letting my team handle this. I said I'm coming down. He grabbed his jacket and moved fast through the mansion's empty corridors. 23 rooms in this house, a staff of 12 people, and Marcus Sterling rattling around inside it like the loneliest man in Georgia. The irony wasn't lost on him. $2 billion couldn't buy him a single person who actually wanted to share dinner with him. The rain outside was biblical. Thunder cracked so loud it shook the windows. Marcus pushed through the back door and crossed the grounds without caring that water was destroying his $800 shoes. James and 2 guards stood at the pool house entrance. Their faces told Marcus this wasn't a typical security breach. She won't come out, James said. Won't talk to any of us. Just keeps saying she's waiting for someone specific. Waiting for who? She won't say. Marcus pushed open the glass door and stepped inside. The girl was huddled in the corner, small and soaking wet, clutching a worn backpack against her chest, like it contained her entire world. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Her braided hair had come partially undone. Her clothes were plastered to a frame far too thin for a child her age. But her eyes stopped Marcus cold. Those eyes were fierce, determined, unafraid, and something about them made his heart stutter in a way he couldn't explain. Who are you? Marcus asked, lowering himself to her level. The girl studied him for a long moment. Then she spoke, and her words rearranged everything Marcus Sterling thought he knew about his own life. I'm sorry I'm late, Daddy. Mama said you'd be waiting for me. Marcus forgot how to breathe. What did you just say? You're Marcus Sterling. You live at 4847 Blackland Road in Buckhead. You drink your coffee black with 2 shots and no sugar because you say cream is for people who don't really like coffee. Your favorite song is A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. And your boys from Morehouse used to call you Mars because you always talked about going to space someday. Marcus's legs buckled. He dropped to his knees on the pool house floor, eye level, with this impossible child who knew things she had no business knowing. How do you know those things? Who told you? Mama told me. She made me memorize everything about you since I was old enough to remember words. The girl's lower lip trembled, the first crack in her brave armor. She said if anything ever happened to her, I should find you. She said you'd protect me because deep down, you're a good man, even if you forgot who you used to be. Forgot what? Who are you talking about? Forgot us, Daddy. Me and Mama. She said you forgot everything about us. Marcus couldn't form words. His mind was spinning through every woman he'd ever known, searching desperately for a connection to this child. Nothing. There was nothing. "What's your name?" "Maya. Maya Denise Carter." Carter. The name triggered nothing. No memory. No recognition. Just empty space where something should have been. "And your mother?" "Denise Carter. She used to be a singer at the Blue Note downtown before we had to start running." Maya's voice cracked. "She sang jazz. People said she had a voice that could make angels cry." James appeared in the doorway. "Sir, should I contact the police child services?" Marcus looked at Maya. At the hunger carved into her face. At the way she clutched that backpack like a lifeline. At those eyes that somehow felt familiar, even though he'd never seen them before. "No. Get her dry clothes. Find her something to eat. She's coming inside with me." Maya stood slowly still, guarding her backpack. "You believe what I'm saying?" Marcus didn't know what he believed. His logical mind screamed that this had to be a scam, some elaborate con. But his heart was telling him something different. "I believe you're cold and hungry, and you need help," he said. "We'll figure out everything else tomorrow." He extended his hand. Maya looked at it for a long moment, weighing whether this stranger could be trusted. Then her small fingers wrapped around his, and Marcus felt something unlock in his chest. Something that had been locked so long he'd forgotten it existed. Inside the mansion, Marcus watched Maya devour scrambled eggs and toast like she hadn't eaten in days. The cook had prepared the simple meal, and Maya finished it in minutes flat. "Slow down, baby girl. There's plenty more if you want it." Maya paused with her fork halfway to her mouth. "Mama taught me to eat fast whenever food shows up, because you never know when you'll have to run again." The words hit Marcus like a fist to his chest. Run from what? What are you running from? The men in the dark suits. They find us sometimes. Mama always knows when they're getting close. She gets this look in her eyes, kind of scared and kind of angry at the same time. Then we pack everything we can carry and leave before the sun comes up. "Maya, what happened 3 days ago? How did you end up here alone?" Maya's eyes filled with tears for the first time since Marcus had found her. "We were staying at the shelter on Peachtree, the one where they let you sleep inside if you get there early enough and wait in line. Mama went to get us breakfast from the church van that parks outside every morning." She wiped her face with the back of her hand. "I was supposed to stay hidden under the blankets until she came back. But then I saw them through the window. 2 men in dark suits walking fast toward the shelter entrance. Mama saw them too. She looked right at me through the window and made the sign." Maya held up her hand thumb and pinky extended. "That means run. Don't wait. Don't look back. Just run as fast as you can and don't stop." "So you ran?" Maya nodded, tears streaming now. "I ran for a long time. Then I walked. Then I ran some more. Mama made me memorize your address when I was 4 years old. She said if we ever got separated and I couldn't find her, I should come here. She said you were the only person in the world who could keep me safe." Marcus stood abruptly and walked to the window. His reflection stared back at him, a successful man in expensive clothes, completely lost in his own home. "Maya, I need you to understand something important. I don't remember your mother. I don't remember ever meeting anyone named Denise Carter. Not at all." Maya didn't seem surprised. "Mama said you wouldn't. She told me the whole story 100 times, so I'd never forget it. She said something happened to your brain that made you forget certain things." "What things?" "Her, me. Everything about the time you were together. She said it wasn't your fault. She said you got hurt really bad." Marcus turned back to face her. "What kind of hurt?" "A car accident. You were driving in the rain just like tonight. Your car hit a tree. And when you woke up in the hospital, you didn't remember Mama anymore. You didn't remember any of the love you shared." 6 years ago. Marcus remembered the accident, the weeks in the hospital, the headaches that lasted for months afterward, But he'd been told there were no lasting effects. He'd been told he made a complete recovery. He'd been told many things. "Your mother," Marcus said carefully. "Where did she work when we supposedly met?" "The Blue Note Jazz Club on Auburn Avenue. She sang there every Thursday night for 2 years. You used to come in and sit at the same table right up front." Maya's voice softened, like she was reciting a bedtime story. "Mama said you always clapped the loudest when she finished a song, even when nobody else was paying attention. She said you made her feel like the most important singer in the world." The Blue Note. Marcus knew that club. He'd been there many times years ago. But he couldn't remember why he stopped going, couldn't remember anything connected to it. "And you're absolutely certain I'm your father?" Maya looked directly at him. "Mama says I got your eyes. She says when I smile she sees your face in mine. She says I got your stubborn streak too." Maya tilted her head. "Don't you see it when you look at me?" Marcus looked at this child carefully, the shape of her face, the way she held her head when she asked a question, the stubborn set of her jaw. God help him. He saw it. "We're going to need to do a DNA test," he said, his voice rough. "Do you know what that is?" Maya nodded. "Mama explained it to me. She said you'd probably want proof before you believed anything. She said that's okay. She said the truth doesn't mind being tested." Maya reached into her worn backpack and pulled out a small plastic bag containing a folded piece of paper and something shiny. "Mama said to give you this when I found you. She said it would help you remember." Marcus took the bag with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Inside was a photograph and a ring. A simple engagement ring, white gold, with a small diamond that caught the kitchen light. The photograph showed a woman holding a baby. She was beautiful, with warm brown skin and natural hair and eyes that held both incredible strength and deep sadness. Even through the photograph, Marcus could see the love pouring out of her as she looked at the infant in her arms. He turned the photo over. Handwritten words in careful script. "Our first day as 3. Don't let them make you forget us, baby. I will love you forever, no matter what. D." Marcus stared at the ring. Something flickered at the edge of his memory. A rooftop decorated with Christmas lights. A woman crying happy tears. His own voice saying words he couldn't quite hear. Then the fragment vanished like smoke. "I need to make some calls," he said abruptly. "James will take you upstairs to a guest room. You need sleep." Maya's face fell. "You still don't believe me?" Marcus stopped at the doorway. He looked back at this child who claimed to be his flesh and blood. This child who had walked for 3 days through dangerous streets to find him. This child who knew things about him that even his closest friends didn't know. "I don't know what I believe yet," he said honestly. "But I believe you're brave. I believe you've been through things no child should experience. And I believe you deserve a safe place to sleep tonight. We'll find the truth tomorrow." Maya clutched her backpack. "Will you find Mama too?" The question pierced something deep in Marcus's chest. "I'm going to try my hardest. That's a promise." An hour later, the housekeeper Patricia knocked on Marcus's office door. Her face was troubled. "Mr. Sterling, I need to show you something. It's about the little girl." Marcus followed her upstairs. Patricia led him to the guest bathroom connected to Maya's room. "I helped her take a bath before bed. When I was helping her wash, I saw these." She pulled out her phone and showed Marcus photos she'd taken. Bruises on Maya's thin arms, old ones faded yellow and green, newer ones dark purple and angry. Marcus felt rage building in his chest. "Did someone hurt her?" "I asked her about them. She said sometimes the shelters aren't safe. She said her mama always tried to protect her, but sometimes bad things happen anyway." Patricia's eyes were wet. "That child has been through more in 6 years than most people see in a lifetime, Mr. Sterling." Marcus looked at the photos again. His daughter. Those were bruises on his daughter's body. "Thank you for telling me, Patricia. Please don't mention this to anyone else yet." Alone in his office, Marcus made 3 calls. First, his personal attorney, Diana Ross Williams. I need a DNA test arranged. First thing tomorrow morning. The best lab in Atlanta. Diana's voice was cautious. What's happening, Marcus? There's a child in my house who claims to be my daughter. Her mother is someone named Denise Carter. I need to know if it's true. Silence. Then, I'll have a team at your house by 7 a.m. Second call was to Dr. Angela Thompson, the neurologist who'd treated him after his accident 6 years ago. Her service took a message for an urgent callback. Third call was to James Mitchell. I need everything you can find on a woman named Denise Carter, former jazz singer, possibly performed at the Blue Note on Auburn Avenue 6 or 7 years ago. And James, I need it yesterday. Then Marcus did something he hadn't done in years. He walked to his bedroom closet, pushed aside rows of expensive suits, and found a box shoved in the darkest corner. A box he'd put there after his accident and never opened again. Inside were items from his old life, things that didn't seem to belong to him anymore. Concert tickets, restaurant receipts, random photographs, and a program from the Blue Note Jazz Club. Marcus opened it with trembling hands. Inside on the first page was a woman's signature in flowing script. To Marcus, my favorite audience member, keep showing up for me. All my love, forever, Denise. He sat on the closet floor holding this proof that he'd known her. They'd met. She'd written these words to him with love. Why couldn't he remember any of it? At 3 a.m, Marcus walked quietly down the hallway. He told himself he just wanted to check that Maya was sleeping safely. That wasn't the whole truth. He needed to see her face again. Needed to search for himself in her features. Soft light crept through the crack beneath her door. Marcus pushed it open gently. Maya was sitting up in bed, knees pulled to her chest, crying into her pillow. She was trying so hard to stay quiet that her whole body shook with the effort. Maya! She looked up, startled, wiping her face fast. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you up. I'm okay. I just had a bad dream. Marcus moved into the room and sat on the edge of her bed. He didn't know how to comfort a child. He had zero experience with this. But he knew what it felt like to be alone in the dark, with fears too big to carry. What did you dream about? Maya's voice was barely a whisper. Mama was calling my name. She was scared and calling for me. But no matter how fast I ran, I couldn't find her. I just kept running and running through empty streets. Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. We're going to find your mother. I give you my word. Maya looked at him with those eyes. His eyes. Pinky promise? She held up her small hand. Pinky finger extended. Such a simple gesture. Such innocent trust. Marcus hooked his pinky with hers. Pinky promise. Maya seemed to relax a little. Mama always says you were a good man. She says you just forgot who you really were somewhere along the way. What else does she say about me? She says you used to laugh all the time. Big laughs from your belly. She says you used to play piano and sing even though your voice wasn't that good. She says you used to dance with her in the kitchen when nobody was watching. Maya yawned, exhaustion finally winning the battle. She says you were the happiest man she ever knew. She says somewhere inside that happy man is still there. He's just sleeping and waiting to wake up. Marcus stayed beside her until her breathing deepened into real sleep. Then he sat in the darkness for a long time, thinking about a version of himself he couldn't remember. A man who laughed from his belly, who played piano, who danced in kitchens. That man sounded like someone worth knowing. The DNA results came back in 47 hours. Marcus sat in his office with Diana Ross Williams and the lead geneticist from the testing laboratory. He already knew what they were going to say. He'd known since the moment Maya wrapped her small fingers around his hand. The probability of paternity is 99.97%, the geneticist announced. There is essentially no doubt. Maya Carter is your biological daughter. Diana closed her folder. What would you like to do next? Marcus stared at the official document confirming what his heart had already accepted. He was a father. He had a 6-year-old daughter who'd lived her entire life without him. And somewhere out there, her mother was missing. Possibly in danger. Possibly worse. "I want everything on Denise Carter," he said. "Every record, every trace, every address she's ever used. I want to know everywhere she's been for the past 6 years. I'll put my best investigator on it immediately. And Diana, I want my complete medical file from 6 years ago. Everything, including anything my family might have accessed or controlled." Diana raised an eyebrow but didn't question him. "I'll have it delivered by this evening." When Diana left, Marcus went to find his daughter. She was in the kitchen standing on a step stool helping Patricia make pancakes. "You have to wait for the little bubbles before you flip it," Maya was explaining with complete seriousness. "Mama says patience is the most important ingredient in good pancakes." Marcus watched her for a moment. This child who had survived shelters and fear and constant running. She stood in his fancy kitchen teaching his housekeeper about pancakes, as if she'd always belonged here. Maybe she always had. "Maya." She turned around and her face lit up like sunrise. "I'm making breakfast. Do you want some? I can put blueberries on yours. Mama always said you loved blueberries." How did she know that? How did Denise know these details about him? "Maya, the test results came back." The little girl went completely still. For a moment, she looked much older than 6, like someone who had learned too young that test results could change everything. And Marcus crouched down to her level. "You were right. You're my daughter." Maya's face crumpled. Not with sadness, with relief. 6 years of believing her mother's stories, 6 years of faith, finally confirmed. She threw herself into Marcus's arms. He caught her holding her small body against his chest. She smelled like maple syrup and the lavender soap from the guest bathroom. She clung to him like he was the only solid thing in a world that had been nothing but shifting sand. "I knew it," she whispered against his shoulder. "I always knew you were my daddy. Mama never lied to me about anything." Marcus held his daughter for the first time since the day she was born. He had missed her first steps, her first words, her first everything. He had missed 6 years of her life because of an accident and lies he was only beginning to understand. But he was here now. "Now we find your mama," he said. Maya pulled back to look at him. "You promise for real?" "I promise for real." The investigation began that afternoon. Marcus hired 2 private detective firms and expanded his security team. He offered a $50,000 reward for any information leading to Denise Carter. James Mitchell coordinated everything. "She's extremely good at disappearing," he reported after the first day. "We've identified 8 different names she's used over 6 years, 8 different cities. She never stays anywhere longer than a few months." "Why?" Marcus demanded. "What is she running from so hard?" James hesitated. "We're still working on that answer. But there's something you need to see right now." He handed Marcus a photograph. It showed Denise walking down a street in Portland, Oregon. 2 men in dark suits were visible behind her, clearly following. This was taken 11 months ago. Local police filed a report after someone called in suspicious persons following a woman matching Denise's description. Marcus studied the men in the photograph. Something about them looked familiar. The way they dressed, the way they carried themselves. "Find out who these men are. I want names." That night, Marcus experienced his first dream about Denise. He was in a hospital bed. Everything hurt. His head throbbed like someone was hammering nails into his skull. A woman sat beside him, holding his hand, crying. "Please." She was begging someone Marcus couldn't see. "Please just let me stay with him. I'm carrying his child. He has a right to know. We love each other." Then another voice answered. A voice Marcus knew as well as his own heartbeat. "My son needs to focus on his recovery without emotional complications. I'm asking you not to return to this hospital." Marcus woke up gasping, his father's voice still echoing in his head. Harold Sterling. What had his father done to Denise? The medical records arrived the next morning. Marcus read them alone in his office, with the door locked. Severe traumatic brain injury resulting from motor vehicle accident. Patient presents significant retrograde amnesia, affecting memories from approximately 18 months prior to the traumatic event. Patient shows no awareness of memory gap. Prognosis for spontaneous recovery, uncertain. 18 months. His entire relationship with Denise had fallen into that black hole of erased memory. But that wasn't what made Marcus's blood turn to ice. The next page detailed visitor records during his 3-week hospital stay. Family members only per family request. No other visitors permitted. Hospital security contacted twice regarding unauthorized visitor attempting entry. At the bottom of the page, a handwritten note from a night nurse. Woman refused entry per family instructions, extremely distressed. States she is patient's fiancé and is pregnant with his child. Security escorted her from premises. Woman was crying and asking us to tell patient she loves him. Fiancé. Pregnant. The words blurred as Marcus's eyes filled with unexpected tears. Denise had come for him. She'd tried to reach him. She'd told them she was carrying his baby, and someone in his family had turned her away. Marcus opened his laptop and pulled up Sterling Technologies' personnel database. He typed in a search for security contractors used by the company over the past 6 years. A list of names appeared. One company was highlighted as a preferred vendor, Blackstone Security Solutions. Marcus clicked on the company profile. The first image that loaded showed 2 men in dark suits standing in front of the Blackstone logo. The same 2 men from the Portland photograph. His father hadn't just blocked Denise from the hospital. Harold Sterling had been hunting her for 6 years. Marcus picked up his phone and called his father's direct line. "We need to talk. Today. My house. 2 o'clock sharp." Harold's voice was smooth as aged whiskey. "I'm quite busy today, son. Perhaps we could schedule something for next week." "It's not a request. Be here at 2, or I'll come to Sterling Tower and have this conversation in front of your entire executive team." Silence stretched across the line. "Very well," Harold finally said. 2 o'clock. Marcus hung up and looked at the photograph still displayed on his screen. Denise walking through Portland, unaware she was being followed. Running from ghosts she could never escape because the ghost was his own father. In the kitchen, Maya was working on another drawing. This one showed 3 stick figures holding hands under a bright yellow sun. A tall man. A woman with long curly hair. A small girl between them. A huge red heart surrounded all 3. "That's us," Maya explained when Marcus walked in. "When we find Mama, and we're all together like a real family." Marcus looked at the drawing, at the hope poured into every crayon stroke. "It's beautiful, baby girl." "I make one every single day," Maya told him. "Mama has a whole box full of them. She says when we're finally safe and don't have to run anymore, she's going to tape them all over the walls of our real home." Finally safe. This child had never known what safety actually felt like. Neither had her mother. Marcus made a silent vow right there in his kitchen. He would find Denise. He would uncover every lie his father had ever told. He would give Maya and her mother the safety and peace they deserved. Whatever it cost him. Whatever it took. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed once. 1:30 in the afternoon. In 30 minutes, Harold Sterling would walk through that front door, and Marcus would finally learn the full truth about the woman he'd loved, the daughter he'd lost, and the father who had stolen 6 years of his life. Through the window, Marcus saw a black Bentley turn onto his driveway, arriving early, as his father always did when he wanted to control a situation. Maya looked up from her drawing. "Who's that fancy car?" Marcus watched his father step out of the vehicle, adjusting his expensive suit, preparing his politician's smile. "That's someone who owes us answers," Marcus said quietly. "A lot of answers." Maya's hand found his and squeezed tight. "Don't worry, Daddy. Mama always says the truth is stronger than any lie. She says lies have to keep running, but truth can stand still and wait." Marcus squeezed back, drawing strength from his daughter's faith. The doorbell rang. The moment of truth had finally arrived. The door swung open, and Harold Sterling stepped inside like he owned the place. Behind him came Eleanor Marcus's mother, followed by his older brother Derek and sister Caroline with their spouses. The entire Sterling family had arrived uninvited, turning what Marcus planned as a private confrontation into a full tribunal. "I brought everyone," Harold announced, removing his coat and handing it to Patricia without acknowledgement. "Family matters should be discussed as a family." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. "I asked to speak with you alone. And I decided otherwise." Harold moved toward the living room with the confidence of a man who had never been told no. "Where is this child I've been hearing about?" "Her name is Maya." "Yes? Yes. The girl." Harold settled into the largest armchair, claiming the dominant position. "Let's see her then. Let's see what all this fuss is about." Marcus wanted to refuse. Every instinct told him to keep Maya far away from his father's cold assessment. But hiding her would only delay the inevitable. "Patricia, please bring Maya down." The family arranged themselves around the living room, like judges preparing to deliver a verdict. Derek sat with his wife Vanessa, both wearing expressions of barely concealed skepticism. Caroline perched nervously on the edge of a settee, her husband Raymond checking his phone like he had somewhere better to be. Eleanor stood near the window, her face unreadable. Maya appeared in the doorway holding Patricia's hand. She had changed into a clean dress, her hair freshly braided. She looked small and vulnerable against the wall of hostile adult faces. "Come here, baby girl," Marcus said, extending his hand. Maya crossed the room and stood beside him, her fingers gripping his tightly. Harold studied her with narrowed eyes. "She does have the Sterling nose. I'll give her that much." "She has my eyes," Marcus said. "And my smile. And about 100 other features that the DNA test already confirmed." "DNA tests can be manipulated," Derek interjected. "Especially when large sums of money are involved." Maya's grip on Marcus's hand tightened. She was 6 years old, standing in a room full of strangers who were talking about her like she was a problem to be solved. "Her name is Maya." Marcus repeated, his voice harder now. "She's not a test result or a complication. She's my daughter." Harold waved his hand dismissively. "We'll discuss the girl's status after we've addressed the real issue. This woman, this Denise Carter, where is she? What does she want?" "She's missing. She's been running for 6 years. From you." The accusation landed in the room like a grenade. Eleanor's hand flew to her throat. Derek and Vanessa exchanged glances. Caroline looked at her father with something new in her eyes. Harold didn't flinch. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Really?" Marcus pulled out his phone and showed the photograph from Portland. "Then explain why Blackstone Security, a contractor on the Sterling Technologies payroll, has been tracking her movements across 8 states. For the first time, a flicker of something crossed Harold's face. Not guilt. Annoyance at being caught. "Whatever measures were taken were for your protection." "My protection from what? From the woman I loved, from my own child." Maya tugged on Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, why is that man angry?" Harold's expression shifted. "Daddy, she's already calling you that." "Because that's what he is," Maya said, finding her voice. "My mama told me about him my whole life. She said he was a good man who got hurt and forgot things. She never said anything bad about him, not once." "How touching." Harold's voice dripped with condescension. "Your mother certainly trained you well." Something in Marcus snapped. "Don't you dare speak about her like that." "I'll speak however I please. That woman was a gold digger from the moment she set eyes on you. A nightclub singer with no education, no family connections, no prospects. She saw an opportunity, and she took it. She was a jazz vocalist with a degree in music from Spelman College. She came from a family of educators in Savannah. Her grandmother was a civil rights activist who marched with Dr. King. Marcus stepped forward. I know, because I spent the last 2 days learning everything I should have known for 6 years. Harold stood, matching his son's aggression. You were throwing away your future for a woman who would have dragged the Sterling name through the mud. I was building a life with someone I loved. Love. Harold spat the word like it was poison. Love doesn't build empires. Love doesn't secure legacies. You had responsibilities to this family, to the company, to everything I spent 40 years creating. So you destroyed her life instead. I protected yours. The confession hung in the air. Eleanor made a small sound of distress. Caroline stood up from her seat. What exactly did you do, Father? Caroline asked, her voice trembling. Harold turned to his daughter with irritation. What needed to be done? After the accident, when Marcus was in the hospital with his memory compromised, that woman showed up every single day demanding to see him. She claimed they were engaged, claimed she was pregnant. She was pregnant, Marcus said, with Maya, my daughter, your granddaughter. An unverified claim at the time. Anyone could say anything. I did what any father would do. I had her removed from the hospital. You had her thrown out while she was carrying my child. I had her escorted away from a situation she was exploiting. Harold's voice rose. She was taking advantage of your condition. You couldn't remember her, couldn't verify any of her claims. For all we knew, she was some opportunist who saw a chance to attach herself to the Sterling fortune. Marcus pulled out another document from his folder. So you offered her $500,000 to disappear. Eleanor gasped. Harold, you didn't. She refused the money. Harold continued, ignoring his wife. Which only proved she wanted more. These women always want more. Or maybe she refused because she actually loved me and wanted me to know my own child. Love. Harold laughed bitterly. Is that what she told your investigators? That she loved you? Then why did she run? If her intentions were pure, why didn't she fight for you? Because you made fighting impossible. Marcus pulled out more documents. When she wouldn't take the money, you had her fired from every job she found in Atlanta. Her apartment mysteriously caught fire 3 weeks after she refused your buyout. Her car was vandalized. She received threatening phone calls in the middle of the night. Caroline covered her mouth. Oh my God. You terrorized a pregnant woman until she had no choice but to flee. Then you spent 6 years hunting her across the country, making sure she could never settle, never feel safe, never stop running. Harold's face had gone hard as granite. Everything I did was for this family. Everything you did was about control. Marcus moved closer to his father, close enough to see the coldness in eyes he'd feared his entire life. You couldn't stand that I chose someone you hadn't approved, someone who didn't fit your plan for the Sterling dynasty. So you erased her. You erased my memories of her. You stole 6 years of my daughter's life. Marcus, please. Eleanor finally stepped forward. You have to understand, we thought we were helping you. The doctors said your amnesia was severe. They said emotional stress could worsen your condition. We were trying to give you time to heal. By lying to me, by hiding my own engagement, my own child. Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know about the money, or the fire. I thought Harold just talked to her, asked her to give you space. She looked at her husband with dawning horror. You told me she agreed to wait. You said she understood. She understood that she was outmatched, Harold said coldly. That's all that mattered. Maya had been silent throughout this exchange, pressed against Marcus's side. Now she spoke up, her small voice cutting through the adult anger. You made my mama cry. Everyone turned to look at her. Mama cries sometimes when she thinks I'm asleep. She tries to be quiet, but I can hear her. She cries and says my daddy's name. She says she's sorry she couldn't fight harder. She says she's sorry I don't have a real home. Maya looked directly at Harold with those fierce Sterling eyes. You're the reason we had to sleep in cars. You're the reason we had to eat from trash cans when the money ran out. You're the reason my mama had to work 3 jobs and still couldn't keep us safe. Maya. Marcus tried to pull her back, but Maya wasn't finished. Mama says we're not supposed to hate people. She says hate makes you sick inside. But I don't think I like you very much, mister. And I don't think my daddy likes you either. Harold stared at the child who carried his blood, who had his nose and his grandson's eyes, who had survived conditions he couldn't imagine. For just a moment, something human flickered across his face. Then it was gone. This changes nothing, Harold said, straightening his jacket. The girl may be a Sterling by blood, but that doesn't mean we accept every claim that walks through the door. There will need to be legal arrangements, custody discussions, financial protections for the family. There will be nothing. Marcus's voice was ice. You will leave my house. You will stop hunting Denise, and you will stay away from my daughter. Marcus, be reasonable. Reasonable. Marcus laughed, and there was no humor in it. You burned down a pregnant woman's apartment. You're asking me to be reasonable. I never ordered any fire. That was an accident. Like hell it was. James Mitchell appeared in the doorway holding a tablet. Sorry to interrupt, sir, but you need to see this immediately. Marcus took the tablet. On the screen was a Blackstone Security internal document dated 6 years ago. It detailed payment for services rendered including property damage to expedite relocation of subject. Marcus held up the tablet so his father could see. An accident. Is that still your story? Harold's face went pale. Where did you get that? Does it matter? It's proof. Proof that you paid someone to burn down the home of a pregnant woman. That's arson. That's attempted murder. That's federal charges. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Marcus stepped forward until he was inches from his father's face. I have spent my entire life trying to earn your approval, trying to be the son you wanted, trying to live up to the great Harold Sterling's expectations. And what did it get me? A life with no love, no joy, no family of my own, just money and power and this empty mansion. He pointed to Maya, who was now being held by a tearful Caroline. That little girl is more family to me than any of you have ever been. Her mother loved me for who I was, not for what I could give her. And you destroyed it. You took the only genuine relationship I ever had and burned it to the ground. Eleanor approached her son, reaching for his arm. Marcus, please. We can work through this. We're still your family. Marcus pulled away from her touch. You stood by and let it happen. You believed his lies. You never once questioned why I suddenly had no memory of a woman I was apparently engaged to marry. I didn't know the full extent. I swear I didn't know. Would it have mattered if you did? Eleanor couldn't answer. The silence was answer enough. Harold collected himself, straightening his tie like armor. Fine. You want to play this game? Go ahead. Take the girl. Find her mother. Play house with your nightclub singer. But know this. When it all falls apart, and it will fall apart, don't come crawling back to this family for help. You're not hearing me. Marcus moved to the front door and opened it wide. There is no family anymore, not between us. You forfeited that right 6 years ago when you decided to play God with my life. Harold walked toward the door, then stopped. You'll regret this. Without the Sterling name, without my connections, you're nobody. I'm Maya's father. I'm Denise's partner if she'll still have me. That makes me somebody to the only people who matter. Harold left without another word. Derek and his wife followed, avoiding eye contact. Raymond hurried after them, clearly relieved to escape the tension. Caroline lingered still, holding Maya's hand. Marcus, I swear I didn't know any of this. I thought you and the woman just had a brief thing that ended naturally. I know. Father is very good at controlling narratives. What can I do? How can I help? Marcus looked at his sister, seeing her clearly for perhaps the first time. She had always been the peacemaker, the one who smoothed over Harold's sharp edges. But she was also the only one who had shown Maya any kindness today. Stay. If you want to know your niece, stay. Caroline looked at Maya. Would that be okay with you? Maya considered the question seriously. You didn't say mean things about my mama. And your hands are soft. Mama says people with soft hands usually have soft hearts too. A tearful laugh escaped Caroline. Your mother sounds very wise. She's the wisest person I know. Except maybe my daddy now. Eleanor stood alone in the foyer, watching her family splinter apart. Marcus, I truly am sorry. I should have pushed back harder. I should have questioned more. Yes, you should have. Can I stay? Can I try to make amends? Marcus thought about all the times his mother had chosen silence over conflict. All the times she had looked away when Harold crushed someone beneath his ambitions. All the years she had been complicit in his father's control. That's up to Maya, he finally said. She's the one you need to convince, not me. Eleanor approached her granddaughter hesitantly. Maya, I know I didn't make a good first impression. I know I was part of something terrible that happened to your mother, but I'd like the chance to do better. Would you give me that chance? Maya studied her grandmother's face for a long moment. My mama says everyone deserves a second chance, even people who mess up really bad, but you only get one second chance. After that, people show you who they really are. Eleanor nodded solemnly. One chance. I understand. The front door closed behind the departed family members. The mansion felt lighter somehow, as if a heavy shadow had been lifted. James approached Marcus quietly. Sir, there's more you need to see. We've made a breakthrough in locating Ms. Carter. Marcus felt his heart lurch. Where? Our team tracked her to Savannah 3 days ago. She's been staying at a women's shelter called Safe Harbor. James paused. But there's a complication. What kind of complication? Blackstone Security has people in the area. 2 of them checked into a hotel 3 blocks from the shelter yesterday morning. They're not there for the scenery. Marcus grabbed his coat. We're leaving now. It's a 4-hour drive. We can charter a helicopter and be there in under an hour. Do it. Maya ran to Marcus and grabbed his hand. Did you find Mama? Are we going to see her? Marcus knelt down to her level. We think we know where she is. But I need you to stay here with Caroline and your grandmother. I need to go get her alone. No. Maya's grip tightened. I want to come. I haven't seen Mama in almost a week. I was so good at running and finding you just like she taught me. Please don't make me stay behind. Marcus looked at his daughter's determined face. The same determination Denise must have had to survive 6 years of being hunted. The same determination that had carried this child 12 miles through dangerous streets. Okay. You're coming with me. Caroline stepped forward. Marcus, is that safe if there are people watching the shelter? My daughter is safest where I can see her. James, triple the security team. We're not taking any chances. 40 minutes later, they were in the air racing toward Savannah, and the woman who had loved Marcus enough to spend 6 years protecting his child alone. Maya pressed her face against the helicopter window, watching the Georgia landscape rush by below. Daddy. Yes, baby girl. What if Mama doesn't want to come with us? What if she's scared of the Sterling people finding her again? Marcus thought about everything he'd learned in the past week. About Denise's strength and sacrifice. About the love that had survived amnesia and separation and 6 years of fear. Then I'll spend the rest of my life proving she has nothing to be scared of anymore. However long it takes. Maya seemed satisfied with that answer. She settled back against her seat, clutching her worn backpack that held the photograph and the ring. Mama kept that ring the whole time, Maya said suddenly. She wears it on a chain around her neck. Every night before bed she holds it and tells me about the day you gave it to her. What does she say? She says it was on a rooftop with Christmas lights everywhere. She says you cried when she said yes. She says it was the happiest day of her whole life. Maya paused. She says the second happiest was when I was born, because I was part of both of you. Marcus felt something crack open in his chest. Not pain, something else. Something that felt like hope trying to break through years of frozen emptiness. Maya, did your mother ever tell you why she named you Maya? The girl nodded. She said Maya means illusion, like something that looks real but isn't really there. Maya smiled. She said she named me that because for so long having a family seemed like an illusion, like a dream that couldn't come true. But then I was born and I was real. And that proved dreams could come true after all. James's voice came through the headset. Sir, we're 20 minutes out. Our advance team is in position near the shelter. They've confirmed a woman matching Ms. Carter's description is inside. But the Blackstone operatives are mobile. They've been circling the area for the past hour. Tell our people to establish a perimeter. Nobody gets near that shelter until we arrive. Already done. Marcus looked out the window at Savannah approaching in the distance. Somewhere down there, the mother of his child was hiding from men his father had sent. She had no idea that everything had changed, that Marcus remembered fragments of their love, that their daughter had found him, that he was coming to bring her home. Maya tugged on his sleeve. Daddy, I need to tell you something important. What is it? When we find Mama, don't be sad if she cries. She cries a lot when she's happy. She says it's because she kept all the happy tears saved up for so long that sometimes they spill over. Marcus felt his own eyes burning. I'll remember that. And one more thing. Maya's small face was serious. When you see her, tell her the sunflowers are blooming. What does that mean? It's our secret code. When things get really bad, Mama says to remember that sunflowers always turn toward the light. She says no matter how dark things get, we have to keep turning toward the light too. If you tell her the sunflowers are blooming, she'll know everything is going to be okay. The helicopter began its descent toward Savannah. Marcus looked at his daughter. This remarkable child, who had carried hope like a torch through darkness, he couldn't imagine. She had walked for 3 days to find him. She had believed her mother's stories when believing seemed impossible. She had faced down his father with nothing but the truth. Maya, when we get your mother, I'm going to tell her something else too. What? I'm going to tell her I'm sorry it took me so long to wake up, and that I'm never going to sleep again. Maya grinned, showing the gap where she'd lost her first tooth just days before everything changed. Mama's going to like that. She always said you were a poet when you wanted to be. The helicopter touched down on a private airfield outside Savannah. 3 black SUVs were waiting, engines running. James handed Marcus a communication device. The shelter is 7 minutes away. Our team reports the Blackstone operatives have stopped circling. They've parked 2 blocks south and appear to be waiting for something. Waiting for backup, Marcus guessed. Or waiting for orders. My father knows I'm coming. He probably has eyes on me right now. Should we abort reassess? Marcus looked at Maya, who was already climbing into the lead SUV, with determination etched on her small face. No. We've been in the dark long enough. It's time to bring everyone into the light. The convoy pulled away from the airfield, racing toward the shelter, where Denise Carter had hidden herself, thinking she was still alone in her fight. She wasn't alone anymore. She never had been. And in 7 minutes, Marcus Sterling was going to prove it. The convoy tore through Savannah's streets at 70 miles per hour. Marcus held Maya close as the SUV took a sharp turn, tires screaming against pavement. James's voice crackled through the communication device every 30 seconds with updates. Blackstone operatives still stationary 2 blocks south. No movement. How many? Marcus demanded. 4 confirmed. Possibly more in the vehicle. Maya gripped her father's hand. Are those the bad men who chase Mama? They won't touch her. I promise you that. The driver spoke without turning around. 3 minutes out, sir. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number appeared on screen. He read it and felt ice flood his veins. You should have stayed in Atlanta. Now things get complicated. H. His father. Even now, Harold was watching. Even now, he was trying to control the outcome. Marcus typed back a single response. Try me. 2 minutes later, the convoy pulled to a stop. James was at the door before Marcus could move. Sir, we have a problem. The Blackstone team is mobile. They're heading this way. How long? 4 minutes, maybe less. Marcus lifted Maya into his arms. Then we have 4 minutes. Let's go. The shelter was a converted church building with faded white paint and a wooden cross above the door. A woman in her 50s stood at the entrance, arms crossed blocking the way. This is a private facility. No men allowed inside without prior authorization. Marcus set Maya down. I'm looking for a woman named Denise Carter. She may be using a different name. She has a daughter. This daughter. The woman's eyes moved to Maya, and her expression shifted from suspicion to recognition. Maya, baby girl, is that you? Maya's face lit up. Miss Loretta, is my mama here? Is she okay? Loretta's hands flew to her mouth. Oh, Lord Jesus, we thought you were lost. Your mama has been out of her mind with worry. She's been searching every street, every corner. She's here. Marcus stepped forward. Please, I need to see her. I'm Maya's father. Loretta's eyes went hard. Maya's father is a rich man in Atlanta who forgot she existed. That's what Denise told us. I didn't forget by choice. I had an accident. I lost my memory. But I remember now. I remember her. And I've spent the last week searching for her. James appeared at Marcus's shoulder. Sir, 3 minutes. Loretta looked between the desperate man and the child she'd helped feed countless bowls of soup. She looked at the fleet of SUVs and the men in suits who moved like military. Denise went out looking for Maya an hour ago. She should be back any minute. Marcus felt his heart drop. She's not here. She goes out every morning and every night, walks the streets calling Maya's name. Poor woman barely sleeps, barely eats. Loretta's voice cracked. She blames herself for losing her baby. Maya tugged on Marcus's sleeve. I know where Mama goes. She always checks the bus station first. She says that's where lost people end up. The Greyhound station is 6 blocks east, Loretta confirmed. Marcus was already moving. James, take half the team and secure this location. The rest come with me. Maya, you stay here with Miss Loretta. No. Maya grabbed his hand with both of hers. Mama needs to see me. She needs to know I'm okay. Please, Daddy, please. 2 minutes. Marcus made the decision in a heartbeat. She comes with me. Let's move. They ran. Marcus carried Maya while 4 of his security team flanked them. The streets of Savannah blurred past. 6 blocks had never felt so far. James's voice came through the earpiece. Blackstone team has split. 2 heading to the shelter. 2 heading toward the bus station. They know. How the hell do they know? Someone's feeding them information. Could be a tracker. Could be a mole. Marcus pushed harder, his legs burning. Maya bounced against his chest but didn't complain. There! Maya suddenly shouted. That's Mama. I see her. Marcus looked ahead. A woman stood near the bus station entrance, holding a photograph showing it to anyone who would stop. Her clothes were worn. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. Even from 50 yards away, Marcus could see the desperation in her movements. Denise! She didn't hear him over the traffic noise. Denise! This time she turned. Her eyes found Marcus first, and he saw confusion cross her face. Then her gaze dropped to the child in his arms. The photograph fell from her fingers. Maya! Marcus reached her as her knees gave out. He caught her with his free arm, pulling her against him, while Maya scrambled to wrap herself around her mother. Mama! Mama! I found him! I found Daddy, just like you said. Denise was sobbing so hard she couldn't speak. She clutched Maya, like the child might disappear again, her whole body shaking with 6 days of terror finally releasing. My baby! My baby! Oh God, my baby. I'm okay, Mama. I was so brave. I walked for 3 whole days, and I found Daddy's house and I told him everything. He did the DNA test, and now he knows. He knows I'm his daughter. Denise looked up at Marcus through tear-blurred eyes. The face he'd seen in photographs. The face that had haunted the edges of his broken memories. Real now. Right in front of him. Marcus. I'm here. You remember. Some of it. Enough. He cupped her face with his free hand. I remember how you laughed. I remember dancing in the kitchen. I remember a rooftop with Christmas lights. Denise choked on a sob. You proposed on that rooftop. And you said yes. And I was the happiest man alive. James's urgent voice cut through the moment. Sir, we've got incoming. 45 seconds. Marcus pulled back, shifting into protective mode. We need to move. Now. What's happening? Denise's eyes went wide with familiar fear. Are they here? Did they find us? They won't touch you. Not anymore. Marcus guided her toward the waiting SUV. Get in. Both of you. Denise hesitated. 6 years of running had taught her not to trust anyone. 6 years of survival had made her doubt every offered hand. Mama. Maya grabbed her mother's hand. It's okay. Daddy's not like before. He's awake now. He's going to protect us. Mother and daughter looked at each other. A lifetime of shared struggle passed between them in that glance. The sunflowers are blooming, Marcus said quietly. Denise's face crumpled. She told you our code? She told me everything. Every story you ever shared about us. Every hope you kept alive. Marcus opened the SUV door. Please. Trust me. Just this once. Denise climbed into the vehicle. Maya scrambled in after her. Marcus followed and slammed the door as the driver hit the accelerator. Through the rear window, Marcus saw 2 men in dark suits emerge from a side street reaching for something beneath their jackets. Then the SUV turned a corner and they disappeared from view. Where are we going? Denise asked, still holding Maya like she might vanish. Home. My home. Our home now. Marcus reached across and took her hand. If you'll have us. Denise stared at him. Do you understand what you're saying? Your father will never stop. He has resources, connections, power. He's been hunting me for 6 years. He burned down my apartment. He destroyed every job I ever found. He made sure I could never stop running. I know, he told me himself, sat in my living room and admitted everything without an ounce of shame. And you still want us to come with you. I want you to come home, both of you. Marcus squeezed her hand. I've been asleep for 6 years, Denise, living a half-life, making money that meant nothing, building an empire that felt like a prison. Then Maya showed up at my door soaking wet, claiming to be my daughter. And I woke up. Denise's tears kept falling. I tried so hard to reach you after the accident. I went to the hospital every day for 2 weeks. They called security on me. Your father told me you'd never remember that I should accept the money and disappear. I know. I refused the money. I wanted you to know about our baby. I thought if I could just talk to you, just see you for 5 minutes, maybe something would spark. And he punished you for that refusal. Denise nodded, her voice breaking. The fire happened 3 weeks after I turned down the buyout. I was 7 months pregnant. I barely got out. After that, I knew he would never let me have a normal life. Not in Atlanta. Not anywhere he could find me. Maya snuggled closer to her mother. But we were okay, Mama. We had each other. We had each other. Denise agreed, kissing Maya's forehead. That was all that mattered. Marcus watched them, mother and daughter, and felt something shift inside his chest. This was what love looked like. Not the cold transactions of his parents' marriage. Not the strategic alliances his father called relationships. Real love, fierce and protective and unbreakable. My father told me you were a gold digger, A schemer. A woman who saw opportunity and grabbed it. Denise looked at him with pain in her eyes. And what do you believe? I believe a gold digger would have taken the $500,000. I believe a schemer would have sold her story to tabloids years ago and lived off the scandal. I believe an opportunist wouldn't have walked away from the sterling fortune to raise a child alone in shelters and cheap motels. Marcus lifted her hand to his lips and kissed her knuckles. I believe you loved me. And I believe somewhere deep down, I never stopped loving you, even when I couldn't remember your name. The SUV pulled onto the highway heading north toward Atlanta. In the vehicle behind them, James coordinated with the rest of the security team. The Blackstone operatives had fallen back, presumably reporting the failed intercept to Harold Sterling. He's going to retaliate, Denise said quietly. Your father doesn't lose, not ever. He's already lost. He just doesn't know it yet. What do you mean? Marcus pulled out his phone and showed her the folder of evidence. Blackstone security documents, payment records, instructions for harassment campaigns, evidence that he ordered the arson on your apartment. He scrolled through more files. I also have his complete financial records for the past decade, including several offshore accounts the IRS would be very interested in. Denise's eyes widened. Where did you get all this? My father made a lot of enemies over the years. People he crushed on his way to the top. People who were waiting for a chance to see him fall. Marcus smiled grimly. Turns out all they needed was someone to open the door. You're going to destroy him. No, I'm going to give him a choice. Leave us alone forever, and these files stay buried. Come after us, and I send everything to the FBI, the IRS, and every major news outlet in the country. He'll choose war. He always chooses war. Then he'll lose everything. His company, his reputation, his freedom. Marcus put away the phone. But I don't think he will. My father is many things, but he's not stupid. He knows when he's beaten. Maya had fallen asleep between them, exhausted by the emotional roller coaster of the day. Her small hand still gripped her mother's shirt, as if afraid to let go even in sleep. Denise stroked her daughter's hair. She never stopped believing you'd come for us. Even when I lost hope, she kept it alive. Tell me about her. Tell me about the last 6 years. And so Denise talked as the miles disappeared beneath them. She told Marcus about Maya's first word, which was Dada, and broke Denise's heart. She told him about Maya's first steps taken in a cramped studio apartment in Denver. She told him about teaching Maya to read using library books because they couldn't afford to buy any. About celebrating birthdays with dollar store cupcakes and homemade presents. About the nights when fear was so overwhelming that Denise would hold her sleeping daughter and cry until morning. Marcus listened to every word, feeling the weight of what his father had stolen from him. 6 years of his daughter's life. First words, first steps, first everything. She's remarkable, he said when Denise finished. Despite everything she's been through, she's kind, brave, hopeful. She's like you. The you I fell in love with before the accident, before your family. Denise hesitated. Do you really remember anything? Or are you just saying that to make me feel better? I remember fragments, pieces that don't quite connect, but every day more comes back. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out the Blue Note program he'd found in his closet. I remember this, the way you'd look at me while you sang, like I was the only person in the room. Denise took the program with trembling hands. You kept this. For 6 years, I didn't know why. I couldn't remember where it came from, but something wouldn't let me throw it away. That's the night you first told me you loved me. After my set, you waited by the back door. I came out, and you were standing there with flowers. Sunflowers. You said they reminded you of me because I always turned toward the light. Marcus felt something click in his brain. A door opening. Light flooding in. He saw it. The alley behind the Blue Note. The nervous feeling in his chest. Denise's face when she spotted the flowers. Her laugh. Her tears. The first kiss that changed everything. I remember, he breathed. I remember all of it. Denise searched his face looking for truth. The restaurant we went to afterward, Giuseppe's, the little Italian place on Peachtree. We shared a bottle of wine, and you told me about growing up in Savannah, about your grandmother who marched with Dr. King. The song I sang for you that night, At Last, by Etta James, you dedicated it to the man in the front row who kept showing up. Marcus felt tears sliding down his cheeks. God, Denise, I loved you so much. I was going to tell my father about us. The night of the accident, I'd finally worked up the courage. You called me right before you left his house. You were so angry. You said he'd insulted me again, called me a distraction. You said you were done hiding our relationship. And then I crashed. And then you crashed. And when you woke up, you didn't know my name. Denise's voice shattered. I stood outside your hospital room window once, watched you through the glass. You were laughing at something the nurse said. You looked so happy, so unburdened. And I realized the universe was telling me something. What? That maybe you were better off without the memories, without me dragging you into a war with your father. She wiped her eyes. So I stopped trying. I took Maya and I ran. And I kept running until I couldn't run anymore. Marcus pulled her close, mindful of their sleeping daughter between them. I was never better off. I've been dying inside for 6 years and didn't even know it. Everything I built, every success, every achievement, it all felt hollow. I thought something was broken in me. Turns out I was just missing you. They held each other as Atlanta drew closer. 2 hours of highway gave way to familiar exits. The Sterling mansion appeared on the hill, lights blazing in every window. I'm scared, Denise admitted. I've been running so long I don't know how to stop. Then we learned together, you, me, and Maya, one day at a time. The SUV pulled through the gates and stopped at the front entrance. James was already out scanning the perimeter, issuing quiet orders to his team. Marcus carried the still sleeping Maya inside while Denise walked beside him. In the foyer, Caroline rushed forward. You found her! Thank God you found her! Denise tensed at the sight of a Sterling. Marcus put a steadying hand on her back. Denise, this is my sister Caroline. She's one of the good ones. Caroline approached slowly, hands visible like approaching a wounded animal. I am so sorry. I didn't know what our father did. I swear I didn't know. Your brother says that matters to him. I haven't decided if it matters to me yet. Caroline nodded, accepting the cool response. That's fair. I'll earn your trust, whatever it takes. Eleanor emerged from the living room, her face showing the strain of the day's revelations. She stopped short when she saw Denise. You're her. You're really her. Denise straightened her spine. I'm really her. The nightclub singer who ruined your son's future. The nobody who had the audacity to fall in love with a Sterling. Eleanor flinched at her own words being thrown back at her. I deserve that. You deserve worse, but I'm too tired to give it to you right now. Marcus intervened gently. Let's get Maya to bed. We can deal with family dynamics tomorrow. He carried his daughter upstairs while Denise followed. Patricia had prepared the guest room with fresh sheets and a stuffed animal she'd found somewhere in the house. As Marcus laid Maya on the bed, the little girl stirred. Daddy. I'm here, baby girl. Did we save Mama? We saved Mama, she's right here. Maya reached out blindly until Denise took her hand. We're all together now. We're all together. Denise confirmed, her voice thick. Good. Maya smiled without opening her eyes. I told you he'd wake up, Mama. I told you Daddy would remember. Within seconds, she was asleep again. Marcus and Denise stood on either side of the bed looking at their daughter. The child who had refused to give up hope. The child who had walked for 3 days to find a father who didn't remember her. She believed in you, Denise whispered. Even when I couldn't. She believed in us. In what we were. What we could be again. Marcus reached across the bed and took Denise's hand. I know I can't get back the 6 years we lost. I know I can't undo what my father did. But I can promise you something. From this moment forward, you will never be alone again. You will never have to run again. You will never have to be afraid again. Those are big promises. I'm a big man. I can carry them. For the first time in 6 years, Denise smiled, really smiled. The same smile Marcus had fallen in love with at the Blue Note, the smile that had made him throw away his family's expectations and plan a future with a jazz singer from Savannah. "I missed you," she said simply. "I missed you too, even when I didn't know what I was missing." They stood there in the quiet room, hands linked across their sleeping daughter, two people who had lost each other and found their way back. Not whole yet, not healed, but together. And together, Marcus was beginning to understand was enough. His phone buzzed. A message from James. "Your father just left his house. He's heading this way. ETA 20 minutes. Marcus looked at Denise, at Maya, at everything he had to protect. "Stay here with her. Don't come downstairs no matter what you hear." "Marcus, what's happening?" "The final conversation. The one I should have had 6 years ago." He kissed her forehead and walked toward the door. "Marcus." He turned back. "Whatever he says, whatever he threatens, don't forget who you are. You're not the man he made. You're the man who danced in kitchens and proposed on rooftops. You're Maya's father. You're the man I fell in love with." Marcus nodded once. The sunflowers are still blooming, and they always turn toward the light. He closed the door behind him and headed downstairs to face his father one final time. Through the window, headlights appeared at the bottom of the driveway. Harold Sterling was coming. And this time, Marcus was ready. The front door opened before Harold could knock. Marcus stood in the doorway, blocking entrance to his home. "You're not welcome here." Harold's face twisted with rage barely contained. "This is still my family's property. I built everything you have. You built nothing for me. You built monuments to yourself and called them gifts." Marcus didn't move. "Say what you came to say, then leave." "Where is she? Where's the woman?" "Her name is Denise, and she's none of your concern anymore." Harold pushed forward, but Marcus held his ground. For the first time in his life, he didn't step back from his father's aggression. "You don't understand what you're doing," Harold hissed. "You're throwing away everything, the company, the family legacy, your entire future. I'm claiming my future, the one you stole from me 6 years ago. I saved you from making the biggest mistake of your life. You decided what my life should be without asking me. You erased the woman I loved. You hid my own daughter from me." Marcus felt his voice rising. "You burned down a pregnant woman's home and called it protection. That was never supposed to happen. The fire was an accident. The documents say otherwise. I have the payment records, Father. I have everything." Harold's expression flickered. Fear. Just for a moment, but Marcus saw it. Those records prove nothing. Any lawyer worth his retainer could have them thrown out. Maybe, but the court of public opinion doesn't need legal proof. How do you think your board will react when they learn what you did? How will your golf buddies respond? Your church, the mayor you donated $500,000 to last year. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Father and son stared at each other across the threshold. 38 years of history between them. Expectations, disappointments, manipulations, control. "I made you who you are," Harold said, his voice dropping low. "Without me, you'd be nothing. Without you, I'd be a man who knows how to love. I'd be a father who was present for his daughter's life. I'd be someone capable of happiness." Marcus shook his head slowly. "You gave me money and power and success. You just forgot to teach me how to be human." Sentiment, weakness. Harold spat the words. "This is why I had to intervene. You were always too soft, too willing to let emotion cloud judgment. Emotion is what makes us alive. It's what separates family from business transactions." Marcus stepped back, finally creating space. "Come inside. We're going to settle this tonight, one way or another." Harold entered the foyer, his eyes scanning for threats for leverage for anything he could use. James and 2 security guards stood at strategic points, watching without expression. "Call off your dogs," Harold demanded. "They stay. You've lost the privilege of privacy in my home." Marcus led his father to the study, the same room where he'd first seen Maya's DNA results, where his world had begun to rebuild itself from ashes. "Sit." Harold remained standing. "I don't take orders from you." "You do now. Sit down, or this conversation ends, and I make the calls I've been preparing." Something in Marcus's voice finally penetrated. Harold lowered himself into a chair, maintaining rigid posture, refusing to show submission. Marcus stood over him. The reversal of their usual dynamic was not lost on either man. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign legal documents relinquishing any claim to custody of Maya. You're going to transfer your shares in Sterling Technologies to a trust controlled by me alone, and you're going to issue a formal apology to Denise Carter for 6 years of harassment and intimidation." Harold laughed. Actually laughed. "You've lost your mind." "I found it. For the first time in 6 years, I can think clearly. And if I refuse..." Marcus pulled out his phone and set it on the desk. "Then I press send on 3 emails. 1 to the FBI, 1 to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, 1 to every board member of Sterling Technologies. By morning, you'll be explaining to federal agents why you paid a security firm to commit arson. By afternoon, you'll be explaining to reporters why you terrorized a pregnant woman for refusing a bribe. By evening, you'll be explaining to shareholders why you should still be trusted with their investments. You'd destroy your own family to protect that woman. I'd destroy you to protect my family. There's a difference." The words hung in the air. Harold's face cycled through emotions: anger, disbelief, calculation, and finally, something Marcus had never seen before: fear. Real fear. The fear of a man who had controlled everything his entire life suddenly facing consequences he couldn't manipulate away. "What guarantee do I have that you won't release those documents even if I comply?" "My word." "Your word means nothing." "Then you don't know me at all." Marcus sat down across from his father, maintaining eye contact. "I don't want to destroy you. I don't want revenge. I just want you out of my life. Out of Denise's life. Out of Maya's life. Give me that, and the documents stay buried forever. And the company. The company survives, under my leadership without your interference. You can keep your title if it matters to you. Chairman Emeritus. Whatever makes you feel important at dinner parties, but the real power transfers to me." Harold's jaw tightened. "You're asking me to give up everything I built." "I'm asking you to accept reality. You're 68 years old. You were going to retire eventually anyway. This just accelerates the timeline. On your terms. On fair terms. Fairer than you deserve." The silence stretched. Somewhere in the house, a clock chimed. 10 o'clock. 2 hours since Marcus had brought Denise and Maya home. 2 hours since his world had finally come together. "I need time to consider this." "You have until midnight. 2 hours. That's not enough time to consult with lawyers to review implications. Then don't consult. Decide. For once in your life, make a decision based on what's right instead of what's advantageous." Harold stood abruptly, pacing the room like a caged animal. Marcus watched him, seeing his father clearly for the first time. Not a titan. Not an empire builder. Just a frightened old man who had confused control for love and power for family. "If I do this," Harold said slowly, "if I sign your papers and walk away, what happens to your mother, to Derek and Caroline?" "That's up to them. The door is open for anyone who wants to be part of Maya's life, anyone who can treat Denise with respect." Your mother had nothing to do with the fire, nothing to do with Blackstone. She had everything to do with silence, with enabling, with choosing your approval over her son's happiness. Marcus shook his head. But she's already started making amends. She stayed today when you left. She's trying. And Derek? Derek followed your lead because he didn't know any better. He has a choice now. Follow you into irrelevance or build something meaningful with the family that remains. Harold stopped pacing. His shoulders sagged almost imperceptibly. For just a moment, he looked every one of his 68 years. I never wanted this for you. What did you want? I wanted you to be strong, protected. I saw how love destroyed my own father. He gave everything to a woman who didn't deserve it, and she took it all and left him with nothing. I swore my children would never be that vulnerable. Marcus felt something shift inside him. Not forgiveness, not yet, maybe never, but understanding. So you protected me from love by destroying the only love I ever had. I protected you from pain. You caused more pain than you can imagine. Not just to me, to Denise, to Maya, to yourself. Marcus leaned forward. Look at us, Father. Look at this family you built. Derek is terrified of you. Caroline walks on eggshells every time you enter a room. Mother hasn't spoken her true thoughts in 40 years. And me. I spent my entire adult life trying to earn approval you were never going to give. I gave you everything. You gave me things. You never gave me yourself. Harold's eyes glistened, tears from Harold Sterling. Marcus couldn't process what he was seeing. I don't know how to be what you're asking. I'm not asking you to be anything except gone, that's all. Just leave us alone. Let us build something without your interference. And if I can't, if I watch you with that woman and that child and I can't stay away, then you choose the consequences. Prison, exposure, loss of everything you value. Marcus's voice softened despite himself. But I hope you choose peace, for all our sakes. The study door opened. Caroline stood in the doorway, her face pale but determined. Father, I need to speak with you. Not now, Caroline. Yes, now. She stepped into the room, closing the door behind her. I've been on the phone with Derek. And with Mother. We've been talking about everything that came out today. Harold's expression hardened. Family business should stay in the family. That's exactly what this is. Caroline moved to stand beside Marcus. We're not going to let you destroy what's left of this family. Derek agrees. Mother agrees. If you fight Marcus on this, you fight all of us. Marcus stared at his sister. You talk to Derek. He's outside. He wants to come in. He wants to apologize. To you and to Denise. The door opened again. Derek Sterling entered, looking smaller than Marcus had ever seen him. The golden child, the firstborn, the one who had always done exactly what Harold expected. Marcus, I'm sorry. I knew what Father did. Not all of it, but enough. I should have said something years ago. Why didn't you? Derek's voice cracked. Because I was scared. Scared of losing my position. Scared of being cut off. Scared of becoming nobody. He looked at his father with something like grief. I've spent my whole life being scared of you. I'm done. Harold looked between his children, seeing the alliance forming against him. So this is how it is. A coup. My own children turning on me. This is intervention, Caroline said firmly. We're trying to save you from yourself and save ourselves from you. You're choosing him over me, over everything I've done for this family. We're choosing to be a real family for once. Derek stepped forward. Sign the papers, Father. Walk away with dignity. Let us all start over. Eleanor appeared in the doorway. Her face showed the strain of the day's events, but her posture was straight and strong. Harold, it's over. Please, let it be over. Marcus watched his father surrounded by the family he had controlled and manipulated for decades. All of them united now. All of them asking for the same thing. Peace. Harold's hand trembled as he reached toward the desk where Marcus had set the documents. Pages of legal text that would end his reign over the Sterling Empire. Pages that would free everyone from his grip. His pen hovered over the signature line. If I sign this, I have your word. All of you, the past stays buried. Marcus nodded. You have my word. Caroline and Derek nodded as well. Eleanor stepped forward and took her husband's free hand. Please, Harold. For me. For the grandchildren. Let it end. The pen touched paper. Harold Sterling signed his name, his hand shaking with each letter. He set down the pen and looked at his son with something Marcus had never seen in those eyes before. Defeat. I hope she's worth it. She's worth everything. Harold turned and walked toward the door. At the threshold, he stopped. I did love you, in my way. I know you don't believe that, but I did. Marcus felt tears threatening. He fought them back. Your way wasn't enough. It was never enough. Harold nodded once slowly. Then he walked out of the room and out of Marcus's life. Eleanor followed him, pausing only to touch Marcus's arm. Give us time. Your father needs to process this. But we'll be back, if you'll have us. That depends on you. On how you treat Denise. On how you treat Maya. I understand. I'll earn it. She left. Derek and Caroline remained. I meant what I said. Derek's voice was rough with emotion. I'm done following his path. I want to be better. I want to know my niece. Caroline nodded. We both do. Whatever it takes. Marcus looked at his siblings, seeing them clearly for the first time. Not rivals, not competitors for Harold's approval. Just broken people trying to find their way out of the same prison. Tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. Meet Maya properly. Meet Denise without father's shadow over everything. They agreed and left. Marcus stood alone in the study, surrounded by silence. The signed documents sat on his desk, legal proof of his father's surrender. He should have felt triumphant. Instead, he felt hollow. Footsteps on the stairs made him turn. Denise appeared in the doorway, her face showing concern. I heard shouting earlier, then quiet. Are you okay? He signed. He's gone. Denise moved into the room, stopping inches from Marcus. How do you feel? I don't know. Empty, relieved, sad. He shook his head. I spent my whole life wanting him to see me, really see me. And now he never will. Maybe not in the way you hoped, but that's not your failure. That's his limitation. My sister and brother want to meet you properly. Tomorrow, without father. Are they like him? They were. But people can change. Caroline has already started. Derek seems ready. Marcus took her hands. You don't have to meet them if you're not ready. This is your choice. Denise considered for a moment. Maya deserves family, real family. If they're willing to try, so am I. You're remarkable, after everything they put you through. What they did hurt me, but holding on to that hurt would only poison Maya's chance at having grandparents. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Denise squeezed his hands. I survived by running. Now I want to survive by building. Marcus pulled her close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. She fit perfectly, like she had always belonged there. I remembered more tonight. Talking to my father, things kept coming back. The night we danced at your apartment. The morning you told me you were afraid this was all a dream. Denise looked up at him. What did you tell me? I told you that if it was a dream, I never wanted to wake up. Marcus touched her face gently. I'm sorry I woke up anyway. Sorry I forgot the dream. You're remembering now. That's what matters. Is it enough? Can we really start over after everything? Denise didn't answer immediately. She stepped back and reached into her shirt, pulling out a chain from around her neck. On it hung the engagement ring. The ring that had traveled with her through 12 states, through shelters and cheap motels and cold nights in cars. I kept this because I couldn't let go. Even when I told myself you were gone forever, I couldn't take it off. She unclasped the chain and slid the ring free. Ask me again. Marcus's breath caught. What? The rooftop question. Ask me again. He took the ring with trembling fingers. The same ring he had chosen 6 years ago, standing in a jewelry store, certain he had found the woman he wanted to spend his life with. He lowered himself to one knee. Denise Carter, will you marry me? Tears streamed down her face. Yes. Again. Always yes. Marcus slid the ring onto her finger where it belonged. Where it had always belonged. She pulled him up and kissed him. Not gentle. Not cautious. A kiss that held 6 years of longing and grief and stubborn hope. When they finally broke apart, a small voice came from the doorway. Does this mean we're a real family now? Maya stood there in her nightgown, teddy bear clutched to her chest, eyes wide with hope. Denise laughed through her tears. You're supposed to be sleeping, baby girl. I heard Daddy yelling, then I heard him stop. I wanted to make sure the bad man was gone. Marcus crossed to his daughter and lifted her into his arms. He's gone. He's not going to bother us anymore. Forever. Forever. Maya looked at her mother, noticing the ring on her finger. Her face split into the biggest smile Marcus had ever seen. You asked her the rooftop question. How did you know about that? Mama told me the story 1,000,000 times. She said you knelt down and your voice got all shaky and you couldn't remember the speech you practiced. Marcus laughed. That sounds about right. She said she didn't care about the speech. She said yes before you even finished asking. Denise joined them, wrapping her arms around both of them. The three of them stood in the study where empires had crumbled and families had fractured, holding on to each other like survivors of a storm. Can I go back to sleep now? Maya yawned hugely. Real families are exhausting. They carried her upstairs together. Marcus on one side, Denise on the other. Maya half asleep between them, mumbling something about pancakes for breakfast. In the guest room, they tucked her into bed. She grabbed both their hands before they could leave. Stay until I fall asleep, both of you. Marcus looked at Denise. She nodded. They sat on either side of the bed, hands linked across their daughter. Maya's breathing slowed. Her grip relaxed. Peace settled over her face. She's beautiful, Marcus whispered. She's ours. I still can't believe this is real. This morning I was alone in this house. Now I have a daughter, a fiancé, a future that actually means something. It's real. I promise it's real. Maya's eyes fluttered open one last time. Stop talking. Trying to sleep. They both stifled laughter. Marcus leaned down and kissed his daughter's forehead. Good night, baby girl. Night, Daddy. Night, Mama. Night, real family. She was asleep within seconds. Marcus and Denise stayed there for a long time, watching their daughter dream. Somewhere outside, car doors closed and engines started. The last of the Sterling family departing into the night. But inside this room in this house that had once been so empty, a new family was taking root. Marcus felt the weight of the day finally settling. The confrontation with Harold. The confessions of his siblings. The proposal. All of it. We should sleep, Denise whispered. Tomorrow's going to be big. Stay with me tonight. Not for anything else. Just stay. Denise nodded. They stood together, looking down at Maya one last time. She never gave up on you, Denise said. Even when I did, she kept believing. She's stronger than both of us. She's the best of both of us. They walked hand in hand to the master bedroom. Marcus had slept there alone for 6 years. Tonight, finally, he wouldn't be alone. Denise paused at the threshold. This feels like a dream. If it is, I'm never waking up. Not this time. She smiled. The same smile that had captured his heart at the Blue Note. The smile he had forgotten and found again. Welcome home, Marcus said softly. It's been a long time. Worth the wait. They lay down together, fully clothed, too exhausted for anything except closeness. Denise curled against him, her head on his chest. He wrapped his arms around her, feeling her warmth, her reality. Marcus. Yes. The sunflowers are blooming. He smiled in the darkness. They never stopped. We just couldn't see them. Sleep came slowly, peacefully for the first time in 6 years. And Marcus Sterling dreamed of rooftops and Christmas lights and a woman who said yes before he could finish asking. The night passed. The stars wheeled overhead. And in a mansion that had been empty for far too long, a family slept together under one roof. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Derek and Caroline coming to make amends, Eleanor trying to rebuild bridges, the world learning about Maya, the media attention that would inevitably follow. But that was tomorrow. Tonight there was only this: a father who remembered, a mother who stopped running, a daughter who never gave up, 3 hearts beating as one, a family reborn from ashes. The clock struck midnight, and Marcus Sterling was finally truly home. Morning light found Marcus already awake, watching Denise sleep beside him. Her face was peaceful for the first time since he'd seen her at the bus station. The worry lines had softened. The tension in her jaw had released. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. For a moment, confusion crossed her face. Then she saw Marcus and smiled. It wasn't a dream. Not a dream. Real. She reached up and touched his face like she needed to confirm he was solid. I keep expecting to wake up in the shelter, expecting to hear Maya crying because she had another nightmare about losing me. No more shelters, no more nightmares. Not for either of you. Small footsteps padded down the hallway. Maya appeared in the doorway, teddy bear dangling from one hand, hair wild from sleep. Is it pancake time yet? Denise laughed, the sound bright and unrehearsed. It's barely 7 in the morning, baby girl. Patricia said she'd make the ones with faces. She promised. Maya climbed onto the bed, wedging herself between her parents. Also, there are people downstairs. The nice lady from yesterday, and a man who looks nervous. Marcus tensed. Derek and Caroline are here already. They brought flowers and boxes. The nervous man keeps checking his phone. Denise sat up, suddenly alert. I'm not ready. I look terrible. I can't meet your family looking like this. You look beautiful. I look like I slept in my clothes. Because I did. Maya patted her mother's arm. Mama, you always say it's what's inside that matters. Are you fibbing? Denise stared at her daughter, caught by her own wisdom. Then she laughed again. When did you get so smart? I learned from you. And Daddy's eyes tell me he thinks you're pretty even with messy hair. Marcus grinned. She's not wrong. 20 minutes later, after quick showers and borrowed clothes for Denise, the new family descended the stairs together. Caroline and Derek waited in the living room, surrounded by flowers and what appeared to be gift boxes. Caroline stepped forward first. We wanted to come early, before you could change your mind about seeing us. I'm not going to change my mind. Marcus kept his hand on Maya's shoulder. But this isn't just about me. Denise gets a say. Maya gets a say. Derek looked at Denise with genuine remorse in his eyes. I don't know how to apologize for what our family put you through. There aren't words big enough. Denise studied him for a long moment. You're right, there aren't. But I'm not interested in apologies. I'm interested in what happens next. What do you want to happen? I want Maya to have a family that loves her. Real love. Not the kind that comes with conditions and expectations. Denise's voice hardened slightly. If you're here to manage us to make sure we don't embarrass the Sterling name, you can leave now. Caroline shook her head vigorously. That's not why we're here. I swear it isn't. Then why? Because I watched my brother come alive yesterday. For the first time in years, he looked like the Marcus I grew up with. The one who laughed and made terrible jokes and dreamed about more than quarterly earnings. Caroline's eyes filled with tears. I want to know the woman who did that. I want to know my niece. Maya tugged on Marcus's sleeve. Can I say something? Of course, baby girl. Maya walked toward her aunt and uncle, her small body straight and brave. My mama taught me that people show you who they are by what they do, not what they say. You say you want to be family. Show me. Derek knelt down to Maya's level. What would you like me to show you? Can you play real play? My mama always plays with me even when she's tired, even when she's scared. That's how I know she loves me. Derek looked at the gift boxes he'd brought. Expensive toys still in their packaging. Items chosen by a personal shopper who had no idea what a 6-year-old actually wanted. I don't know how to play, he admitted quietly. Nobody ever taught me. Maya considered this. That's sad. But I can teach you, if you want to learn. Something cracked open in Derek's carefully controlled expression. I'd like that very much. Caroline approached Denise while Derek and Maya began examining the gift boxes together. I know you have no reason to trust me, but I'm not my father. I don't want to be my father. Then who do you want to be? I don't know yet. I'm still figuring that out. Caroline took a deep breath. What I do know is that watching Marcus fall apart after the accident, watching him become this shell of a person, and knowing something was wrong but being too scared to question it. That haunts me. I should have pushed harder. I should have asked why he suddenly had no memory of the woman he'd been planning to marry. You knew about me. I knew there was someone who made him happy. Then after the accident, Father said it had been a brief fling already over before the crash. I believed him because believing was easier than confronting. Caroline's voice broke. I'm sorry. I was a coward. Denise absorbed this confession. Part of her wanted to rage at Caroline to release 6 years of accumulated fury. But looking at this woman, seeing the genuine shame in her eyes, Denise felt her anger shift into something else. Being brave is hard when you're raised by a tyrant. I understand that. How can you be so forgiving? I'm not forgiving your father. I may never forgive him, but you're not him. Denise glanced at Maya now, showing Derek how to stack blocks into a tower. My daughter deserves family. If you're willing to be real with her, to love her without conditions, I'm willing to try. Marcus watched this exchange, his heart swelling with something he couldn't name. Pride, hope, love, all of it tangled together. His phone buzzed. James Mitchell's name appeared on screen. Excuse me, I need to take this. He stepped into the hallway. What is it? Sir, we have a situation. Harold Sterling was admitted to Piedmont Hospital an hour ago, apparent heart attack. Marcus felt the floor shift beneath him. Is he alive? Stable but critical. Your mother is there. She's asking if you'll come. Marcus closed his eyes. The man who had terrorized Denise, who had stolen 6 years of his daughter's life, who had manipulated and controlled everyone around him, was lying in a hospital bed. I'll be there within the hour. He returned to the living room. Denise immediately sensed the change in his expression. What's wrong? My father had a heart attack. He's in the hospital. The room went silent. Maya looked up from her tower of blocks, sensing the shift in adult energy. Is the mean man sick? Marcus knelt beside his daughter. Yes, baby girl. He's very sick. Are you sad? The question cut straight through Marcus's confusion. Was he sad? The man had caused immeasurable harm. He had earned this karma through decades of cruelty. And yet, he was still Marcus's father. I don't know how I feel, Marcus answered honestly. But I need to go to the hospital, to see my mother if nothing else. Denise touched his arm. Do you want me to come? No, stay here with Maya. With Caroline and Derek. I need to do this alone. Marcus. Denise held his gaze. Whatever you're feeling, it's okay. Even if part of you is relieved. Even if part of you is hurting. Both can be true. He kissed her forehead. I'll be back soon. The drive to Piedmont Hospital felt endless. James sat in the passenger seat providing updates as they came in. His lawyer is already there, along with 2 board members from Sterling Technologies. They're circling. Like vultures, sir. With your father incapacitated, the power vacuum is creating chaos. Let them scramble. I have the signed documents. The transition of power is already legal. Should I announce that publicly? Marcus considered. Not yet. Let's see how this plays out. At the hospital, Marcus found Eleanor in a private waiting room looking smaller than he'd ever seen her. She rose when he entered. Thank you for coming. I know you didn't have to. How is he? The doctors say the next 24 hours are critical. The damage was significant. What triggered it? Eleanor's face crumpled. He couldn't sleep last night. Kept pacing, talking to himself. Around 4 a.m, he collapsed. She wiped her eyes. I think losing control finally broke something inside him. Marcus felt no satisfaction at this news. Only emptiness. Can I see him? He's sedated, but yes, you can see him. Marcus walked down the sterile corridor to his father's room. Machines beeped steadily. Tubes connected Harold Sterling to bags of fluid and monitors tracking his vital signs. The Titan reduced to flesh and weakness. Marcus stood at the foot of the bed, looking at the man who had shaped his entire existence. The man who had taught him that love was weakness and control was strength. The man who had burned down a pregnant woman's apartment to protect the family name. I should hate you, Marcus said quietly. Part of me does, but part of me just feels sorry for you. Harold's eyes remained closed. His chest rose and fell with mechanically assisted breath. You had everything. Money, power, influence. And you used it all to make people afraid of you, including your own children. Marcus moved closer to the bed. Denise forgave Caroline this morning, just like that. After everything the family put her through, she's willing to try because she wants Maya to have relatives who love her. He touched the bed rail, remembering all the times he'd reached for his father's approval and found only cold assessment. That's something you never understood. Real strength isn't control. It's the ability to love even when you've been hurt. To trust, even when trust has been broken. Marcus shook his head slowly. Denise has more strength in her little finger than you've had your entire life. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Sir, family only in the ICU. I am family. I'm his son. The nurse nodded and withdrew. Marcus looked at his father one last time. I hope you survive this. Not because I need anything from you, but because I hope you live long enough to see what real family looks like, to see Maya grow up happy and loved, to understand what you missed by choosing fear over connection. He turned and walked out. Eleanor was waiting in the hallway. What did you say to him? The truth. Something our family has avoided for far too long. Will you stay? Will you help me through this? Marcus considered his mother. The woman who had enabled Harold for 40 years. The woman who had chosen silence over protection. I'll help you. But I won't pretend things are normal. They're not. They may never be. I understand. And Denise comes first now. She and Maya are my priority. If that's something you can accept, we can move forward. If not, this is where we part ways. Eleanor nodded slowly. I accept it. I just want to be part of your lives. Whatever role you'll allow me. Marcus called Denise from the hospital parking lot. How is he? Critical but stable. The next day will tell. How are you? Marcus leaned against his car, feeling the weight of the morning. I thought I'd feel vindicated, or angry, or something. But mostly, I just feel tired. That makes sense. You've been carrying a lot. I'm coming home now. I want to see Maya. I want to have those pancakes she's been talking about. She's already helped Patricia make 3 batches. I think we have enough pancakes for the entire neighborhood. Marcus laughed, surprising himself. Save me some. I'm on my way. When he returned to the mansion, he found a scene he hadn't expected. Caroline and Derek were in the kitchen, flour on their clothes, watching Maya demonstrate the proper technique for flipping pancakes. You have to wait for the bubbles, Maya instructed seriously. If you flip too early, they get smooshy in the middle. Derek attempted a flip. The pancake landed half on, half off the griddle. That was terrible, Maya said with 6-year-old honesty. Try again. Carolyn caught Marcus's eye and smiled. She's been bossing us around for an hour. I love her already. Denise appeared beside Marcus. How did it go? It went. He watched his daughter teach his siblings how to make breakfast. This is what I want. This right here. Chaotic pancake lessons. Family. Real family. People who show up and try even when they're scared. People who flip terrible pancakes and keep trying anyway. 2 weeks passed. Harold Sterling survived his heart attack, but remained weak, confined to bed rest at home, under constant medical supervision. The power transfer at Sterling Technologies proceeded smoothly, with Marcus taking full control, while allowing his father to retain an honorary title. The media eventually caught wind of the story. A young black woman and her daughter, hidden for 6 years, reunited with one of Atlanta's wealthiest men. The tabloids went wild with speculation. Marcus called a press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to confirm what many of you have already heard. 6 years ago, I was engaged to a woman named Denise Carter. Due to injuries from a car accident, I lost all memory of our relationship. During my recovery, Denise was prevented from seeing me by members of my family who disapproved of our relationship. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. What I didn't know was that Denise was pregnant with our daughter Maya. For 6 years, she raised our child alone, constantly moving to escape harassment from those who wanted her to disappear. The room erupted. 2 weeks ago, Maya found her way to my home. She told me who she was and who her mother was. And for the first time in 6 years, I began to remember the life I'd lost. Marcus looked directly into the cameras. I'm here today to publicly apologize to Denise Carter for the suffering my family caused her, and to announce that we are engaged to be married. Maya will take the Sterling name, as is her birthright. One reporter pushed forward. Are there criminal charges being filed against those responsible for the harassment? That's a private matter. What I can tell you is that the individuals responsible have been dealt with. My focus now is on building a future with my family, not relitigating the past. What about Harold Sterling? Reports say he suffered a heart attack. My father is recovering at home. His health is a family matter. Denise stepped up beside Marcus, taking his hand. Maya stood between them, wearing a new dress Caroline had bought her. Any final comments? Marcus looked at his daughter. Maya, do you want to say anything? Maya stepped forward to the microphone, which had to be lowered significantly. The room fell silent. My mama taught me that family isn't about blood or money or what people think of you. Family is about who shows up when you're scared, who holds your hand in the dark, who makes pancakes with you even if they're bad at flipping. Maya smiled. I found my daddy because I believed he would want to find me too. And I was right. He just needed help remembering. The room melted. Even the most cynical reporters couldn't maintain their professional detachment. Also, Maya added, if anyone knows good places for birthday parties, I'm going to be 7 soon, and I've never had a real birthday party with friends because we moved too much. So let me know. Denise laughed through tears, pulling Maya close. I think we're done here. The press conference ended, but Maya's words spread across social media within hours. The image of a brave little girl asking for birthday party recommendations after a lifetime of running touched something universal. Messages poured in. Offers for venues, entertainment gifts. The hashtag Maya's birthday party trended nationally for 3 days. 2 months later, on a warm Saturday afternoon, Maya celebrated her 7th birthday with 43 children, most of whom she'd never met before. The party was held in the backyard of the Sterling mansion, transformed into a wonderland of games and activities. Denise watched her daughter play with other kids for the first time, tears streaming down her face. She's so happy. Marcus wrapped his arm around her. She deserves this. You both do. Caroline approached with a gift-wrapped box. This is from Mother. She wanted me to deliver it personally. Denise hesitated, then took the box. Inside was a beautiful handmade quilt, each square depicting a sunflower. A note accompanied it. For Maya, may she always turn toward the light. With love and hope for forgiveness, Eleanor. Denise ran her fingers over the stitching. She made this herself. Every square. She's been working on it since the day you came back. She said she wanted Maya to have something made with love, not bought with money. Denise looked across the party to where Eleanor stood at the edge watching her granddaughter, but not presuming to approach. Their eyes met. Denise nodded once slowly. Eleanor's face crumpled with relief and gratitude. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a beginning. 3 months later, Marcus and Denise were married on the rooftop of their building, surrounded by Christmas lights, just as they had been for their first engagement. Maya served as flower girl, scattering sunflower petals instead of traditional roses. Caroline was maid of honor. Derek stood as best man. And in a wheelchair at the edge of the gathering, Harold Sterling watched his son marry the woman he had tried to destroy. His face showed something it had never shown before. Humility. During the reception, Marcus found himself alone with his father for the first time since the hospital. "You came." Harold's voice was weaker now, stripped of its commanding boom. "Your mother insisted." "That's not why you came." Harold was silent for a long moment. "No, it isn't." "Then why?" "Because that little girl invited me, walked right up to my chair and said I should come watch her daddy get married, because even mean people deserve to see happy things sometimes." Harold's eyes glistened. "She has your stubbornness. She has her mother's heart. That's what matters." "I was wrong." The words seemed to cost Harold physical pain. "About Denise. About all of it. I was wrong." Marcus absorbed this confession. He had waited his entire life to hear his father admit a mistake. "Do you expect forgiveness?" "No, I don't deserve it. I know what I did. I know who I hurt." Harold looked toward Denise, radiant in her wedding dress. "I just wanted you to know that I finally see what you saw in her, what I was too blind and arrogant to see before." "What do you see?" "Strength. Real strength. The kind that doesn't need to destroy others to prove itself." Marcus looked at his father, this broken man who had spent his whole life accumulating power only to watch it crumble. "I don't forgive you. I may never forgive you, but I'm done being angry. It takes too much energy, and I'd rather spend that energy on my family." "That's fair. If you want to be part of Maya's life, you'll have to earn it. Not with gifts or money. With time and presence and genuine interest in who she is." "I don't know how to do that." "Learn. Like Derek learned to flip pancakes. Like Caroline learned to play make-believe. Like Mother learned to sew a quilt." Marcus leaned closer. "It's not too late to become a different kind of man, but it has to be your choice." Harold nodded slowly. "I'd like to try." "Then try, and we'll see." And Maya appeared, tugging on Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, it's time for the dancing. Mama says you promised to dance with her even though you're terrible at it." Marcus laughed. "I did promise that." He left his father and joined Denise on the makeshift dance floor. The music started something slow and sweet, and they swayed together under the Christmas lights. "What did he say to you?" Denise asked quietly. "That he was wrong. That he wants to try." "Do you believe him?" "I believe he's scared. I believe he's finally realized what he lost by choosing control over love. Whether he can actually change." Marcus shrugged. "Time will tell." Maya squeezed between them, wrapping her arms around both parents. Family hug. They held her between them, swaying gently to the music, three people who had found each other against impossible odds. 1 year later, the Carter Sterling Foundation opened its doors. Dedicated to helping single mothers escape dangerous situations, it provided housing, legal aid, job training, and childcare. Denise served as executive director, using her experience to guide others through the darkness she had survived. On opening day, 300 women and children attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Maya stood between her parents holding oversized scissors. "This place is for mamas like my mama," Maya announced to the crowd. "For kids like me who had to run and hide. Now they don't have to run anymore. They can stay here until they're safe, because everybody deserves to feel safe." The ribbon fell. Applause erupted. That night at the family dinner that had become their weekly tradition, Marcus looked around the table. Denise on his right, Maya on his left, Caroline and Derek across from them. Eleanor at the head, finally comfortable in her role as grandmother. Even Harold was there, quieter now, humbled by his brush with mortality and the slow work of earning back trust. "I want to say something," Marcus announced. The table fell silent. 1 year ago, I was alone in this house, successful by every measure society values, but completely, utterly alone. I had money and power and influence, and none of it meant anything because I had no one to share it with. He took Denise's hand. Then a little girl showed up at my door soaking wet, claiming to be my daughter. And everything changed. Maya beamed at the recognition. She gave me back my memories. She gave me back the woman I loved. She gave me back the ability to feel something other than empty. Marcus's voice thickened. But more than that, she taught me what family really means. Not blood or obligation or strategic alliance. Just love. Simple, fierce, unconditional love. He looked at his daughter with tears in his eyes. "Maya, you saved me. You saved all of us. And I will spend the rest of my life making sure you know how grateful I am." Maya climbed out of her chair and threw her arms around her father. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, baby girl, more than you'll ever know." Denise wiped her eyes. "Now look what you've done. Everyone's crying into their food." Laughter broke the emotional tension. Dinner resumed. Stories were shared. Jokes were told. The sounds of family filled every corner of the room. Later that night, after everyone had gone home and Maya was asleep, Marcus and Denise stood on the balcony looking out at the Atlanta skyline. "Happy?" he asked. "More than I ever thought possible." "Any regrets about staying? About trusting me?" Denise turned to face him. "I spent 6 years regretting everything. Regretting that I couldn't reach you after the accident. Regretting that I had to raise Maya alone. Regretting that I had to run instead of fight." She placed her hand over his heart. "I'm done with regrets. I'm done looking backward. All I want is forward. With you. With Maya. With this beautiful, messy, imperfect family we're building." Marcus pulled her close. "The sunflowers are blooming." Denise smiled against his chest. They never stopped. And in that moment, Marcus Sterling understood something that had eluded him his entire life. Success wasn't measured in dollars or influence or power. It was measured in the people who chose to stand beside you. In the love you gave and received. In the family you built, not through obligation, but through choice. He had lost 6 years to amnesia and manipulation. But standing here now with the woman he loved, with their daughter sleeping peacefully down the hall with a future stretching out before them, full of possibility, Marcus knew the truth. Some things were worth losing everything for. Some people were worth waiting a lifetime to find. And some families, the best families, weren't born. They were chosen. Maya appeared in the doorway, teddy bear in hand. "I can't sleep. Can I stay with you?" Marcus scooped up his daughter. Denise wrapped her arms around both of them. "You can always stay with us," Marcus said. "That's what family means." Maya snuggled between her parents, finally safe, finally home, finally complete. And the sunflowers planted in the garden below turned their faces toward the rising moon. They would turn toward the sun again tomorrow. That's what sunflowers do. That's what this family would do. Always turning toward the light, always finding their way home, forever.